The Prime Minister's citizenship crackdown with a promise of new rules to force councils to hold ceremonies on Australia Day.
On Australia Day, our most important national day, that's a day we should be handing out citizenship.
The government and the coalition both pledge federal funds to help revive Kakadu National Park. Renewed calls for pill testing at music festivals after the death of a teenager in Sydney. And a maiden title for Alex de Minaur as the tireless teenager sets his sights on the Australian Open. Hello, Lara Himes with ABC News. The weather around the capital cities for tomorrow, mostly sunny for Brisbane, partly cloudy in Sydney, mostly sunny in Canberra, Melbourne and Hobart, very hot in Adelaide, mostly sunny for Perth, and rain with a possible storm for Darwin. Local governments have been stunned at proposals to force citizenship ceremonies to be held on Australia Day. The Prime Minister said changes to the Australian Citizenship Ceremonies Code would ensure the public holiday is given the respect it deserves. But councils have accused the PM of political grandstanding. James Oaten reports. There's no firm date as yet, but the unofficial federal election campaign is underway. Both the Coalition and Labor have shifted their gaze north, each promising hundreds of millions of dollars for the world-famous Kakadu National Park. But the leaders are trading barbs over who had the idea first. From Canberra, political reporter Matthew Doran. There's been another drug-related death at a music festival in New South Wales. A 19-year-old woman died after taking an unidentified drug at the FOMO festival in Parramatta. She's the fifth person to die at a festival in recent months. Nick Dole reports. Engineers have removed 3 more signs from major Melbourne roads for closer inspection after a large overhead sign fell and crushed a car earlier this week. New details have come to light about the installer of the faulty sign, with the contractor behind several other major state government projects.
These are the extraordinary pictures of a near miss on the Tullamarine Freeway that could have ended in...
The esteemed Judge Justice Margaret Beasley will succeed David Hurley as the next Governor of New South Wales. She's led a revered career as a lawyer and judge and will become the second woman ever to be appointed to the role.
Justice Margaret Beasley, Sydney.
Tasmania's Governor Kate Warner has announced she's been diagnosed with cancer. She says she has a form of cancer which is curable and she will undergo treatment while continuing to carry out her duties as the state's governor. The Saudi teenager at the centre of an international asylum saga has started her new life in Canada. Rahaf Al-Qanoun received a warm embrace from the country's foreign minister as she arrived at Toronto Airport. Jane Breslin reports. The White House has rejected claims that the FBI investigated whether Donald Trump was secretly working for Russia. The New York Times reports that law enforcement officials became suspicious about the president when he sacked FBI Director James Comey. Meanwhile, Mr. Trump is still threatening to declare a national emergency if Democrats don't approve funding for his border wall. Some unpaid government workers have been forced to rely on charity meals, with the partial government shutdown now the longest in history. Women and girls of all ages have attended a martial arts open day in Adelaide, encouraging women to learn self-defence techniques. Participants discovered the training is as much about inner strength as it is about sheer force. The Australian Open gets underway tomorrow and 2 of the country's brightest young stars will head into the tournament in top form. Teenager Alex de Minaur won his first ATP Tour title in Sydney last night, while Ash Barty narrowly lost the women's final after a giant killing run.
Alex de Minaur took...
The Australian men's cricket team has arrived in Adelaide ahead of Tuesday's second one-dayer against India. A new-look side got off to a winning start in Sydney last night after setting the tourists a victory target of 289 runs, with India falling short by 34. The Brisbane Heat have smashed the Melbourne Renegades by 101 runs in their Big Bash encounter in Geelong tonight. Earlier, the Sydney Thunder hammered the Adelaide Strikers at the Sydney Showground Stadium, posting 168 on the back of a strong innings from Shane Watson. He smashed 68 from just 40 balls.
That's big, that's massive. And taken in the crowd.
In response, Adelaide were never putting up much of a fight, bowled out for 97. Storm for Darwin. And that's the latest from ABC News. I'm Lara Himes. Stay with us. Women's Work is coming up next.